Stuck in the snow again. Take over to proceed. I might just give it some gas to accelerate through it. Goes from there. Although now it's getting very confused about its ability. You stupid fucker. Yeah. Point in case that Elon should be focusing on fixing his companies rather than fucking up the country.
be kind of insulated from being able to operate as Flying Dutchmen, going from police department to police department. It's a degradation. It's what Trump wants, and you see this. And so Trump doing this, who is he appealing to? Why does he want to have bad cops out there? Why does he want to have rogue cops be kind of insulated from being able to operate as Flying?
Sonic, my name is Taylor. How can I help you?
Hello, I have a pickup order for Russ.
No problem.
83% of Americans hate Donald's January 6th pardons. His poll numbers are tanking. By God. Dear human. Lo, the people have spoken, and verily, they are pissed the fuck off. 83% of Americans disapprove of King Donald's pardoning his January 6th goon squad, and now his poll numbers are falling faster than a gold-plated toilet in a hurricane. Smite. 1. Mad old King Donald. Oh, and hey, by the way, even Republican-leaning voters oppose these pardons 70 to 27%. I'm being serious here. His overall approval rating is now down to 45%, with a whopping 53% disapproving, the worst for any president at this stage since they started measuring. 57% of Americans already say he is overstepping his authority, and with every desperate move, that number rises. And lo, in his desperation, Donald has now floated the idea of $5,000 rebate checks to magically go out to every American with money that doesn't exist, from savings that don't exist, promised by a conman who very famously doesn't pay his bills. 62% of Americans say he hasn't done enough to lower prices, so his solution? $1 trillion bribe for the angry plebes. Because as it stands, they're burying Tesla Cybertrucks under mountains of dog shit. Even Elon's own eye hates him and Donald. 2. The Rebellion Report. While Donald and his cronies sink deeper into fascist illusion, rebels are fighting back in their own ways. Town halls are packed with furious voters. In solid red districts, people are screaming tax the rich, tax the billionaires, at their elected officials. Even in Trump's strongholds, his own supporters are finally realizing he's only loyal to billionaires. Protests are ramping up. Activists and labor unions are coordinating strikes and direct action against his billionaire allies. Elon and his so-called Department of Government Efficiency are facing lawsuits and mass opposition as they slash programs Americans actually need. Elon doesn't seem to be taking it well. Even Fox News is panicking. Jesse Waters, the ultimate bootlicker, begged Donald on live TV to stop firing his own supporters. Even international leaders are taking shots.
Thank you.
After Canada's hockey team defeated the US 3-2 in the Four Nations face-off final, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau taunted Donald, declaring, "You can't take our country, and you can't take our game." The rebellion grows. 83% of Americans disapprove of his pardons. His approval rate is crashing. Meanwhile, town halls are flooded with angry voters, demanding their representatives stand against the billionaire takeover. Workers are walking out. Activists are taking to the streets. Even the corporate media can't ignore the chaos. No one can. Keep spreading the truth. Keep turning up the heat. This is working. 4. Join the rebellion. Humanity is at a crossroads. Donald Trump is coming for all of us who dare to oppose him. Every corporate media network, social media app, and billionaire has bent the knee to his fascist ambitions. We're risking everything to stand against him and his goons, bringing truth and laughter to the fight. Your support doesn't just keep this radical leftist podcast alive, it's a stand for resistance, survival, and the freedom to call out miserable pricks like him. And quote, "I need a laugh or I will go crazy. Plus, I support media not owned by any corporation. God is great." And quote, Gina. And quote, Heather Cox Richardson quoted you the other day, "So I know God is for real. Yay, God." And quote, Kai sighed. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. To celebrate
did know is that my school had just implemented a policy that anyone could get a free lunch at school regardless of financial status. Rich kid gets a free lunch, poor kid gets a free lunch, paid for by the taxpayer. Now, 8th grade me thought that was a real fucking good deal. I still think that, and I thought then that anybody with a rational fucking brain cell would think the same. But we got to that school board meeting, and I watched as the same people that I saw at Sunday church every Sunday stood up in front of the board and talked about how this was a terrible thing and that they were all just shelling out for all these people that didn't need a free lunch. And then I watched as my dad, the strongest, hardest working man I've ever known in my entire life, I mean, he could bend a horseshoe in half with his bare fucking hands. My dad stood up and said, hey, I know exactly what it feels like to be the kid that needs the free lunch. I grew up on free lunch. And I also know exactly what it feels like to feel the stigma behind that in your classmates. He said, if you have a problem with paying for these free lunches, you can bill me. And then he looked at the school board and said, thank you for your time, and we left. Now, 8th grade me thought, well, maybe it's just a problem in my slack-jawed yokel of a hometown. But the more I've grown up, the more I've seen that this is not just a problem in 2,000 people towns. It's a problem nationwide, and that the same people that are having these problems are the same people that are at church every fucking Sunday. That's what radicalized me. Oh, what radicalized you? I'll fucking tell you what radicalized me. When I was in 8th grade, my dad came home from a miserable, terrible, grueling day at work and said, hey, put your shoes on, we have to go to the school board meeting. Now, I'd never been to a school board meeting, didn't even really know what they were for, but what I did know is that my school had just implemented a policy that anyone could get a free lunch at school regardless.
Gives new meaning to when I say Trump is talking out of his asshole.